Greetings of peace and solidarity. The Bible tells us that the earth mourns and withers, the world languishes and withers, the highest people of the earth languish. The earth lies defiled under its inhabitants, for they have transgressed the laws, violated the statutes, broken the everlasting covenant. Scientists tell us that we must now act with urgency to restore the nature that we have been damaging and exploiting for too long. Otherwise, we risk destroying the very basis on which we depend. We risk floods and hunger and severe consequences for ourselves and the generations coming after us. While our conscience tells us that we need to take care of each other and of the weakest amongst us, for continuing down this path of exploitation and destruction of humans and of nature is unjust and unwise. And yet, there is hope. The Laudato Si encyclical reminds us that our common home is like a sister with whom we share our life and a beautiful mother who opens her arms to embrace us. It calls for ecological integrity, remembering that everything is connected, from the smallest drop of water and the tiniest particle of soil to our oceans and continents. We only have little time left, as scientists tell us, only few years to restore integrity in our relationship with nature. What we need to do is to reconcile our faith, our knowledge, and our conscience, and let this reconciliation lead to better action for the planet and for the fellow humans we share it with. We need to rethink our economies in creative ways so that they do not produce pollution and destruction, but the foundations for a good life for all. We need to reimagine a better future for all, a better way for treating the humans around us and the creation we all share. The integral ecology concept in Laudato Si reaffirms that everything is connected and interrelated, and that there is a relationship between global economics and local cultures, customs, and values. A relationship between our living spaces, our daily life, and our own behavior. A relationship of our current generation with future generations. Laudato Si reiterates that the solution is the one that demands an integrated approach to combating poverty, restoring dignity to the excluded, and at the same time protecting nature. The UN Agenda 2030, with an overall motto to leave no one behind, also recognizes that eradicating poverty is the greatest global challenge and is indispensable requirement for sustainable development. It is the responsibility of all countries and all stakeholders acting in collaborative partnership to implement this plan. Agenda 2030 is also a plan to heal and secure our planet by taking bold and transformative steps urgently needed to shift the world onto a sustainable and resilient path. The 17 Sustainable Development Goals and the 169 targets are all integrated and indivisible and balance the three dimensions of sustainable development: the economic, social, and environmental. Laudato Si approach and action focus on the political and economic paths for dialogue. Laudato Si calls nations to come together and put the global common good above national interests and through negotiations, treaties, and public commitments. This is the first goal of the United Nations Environment Programme Faith for Earth initiative, which aims to provide the appropriate platform for nations and stakeholders, including faith actors, to discuss and engage on policy issues concerning the environment. At the last United Nations Environment Assembly held in March 2022, more than 860 leaders representing 92 religions and congregations came together and addressed 193 member states, demanding the integration of ethics and values in environmental governance. Laudato Si integral ecology challenges the economic sector to move beyond thinking about maximization of profit at the expense of our planet and the poor, and calls for the adoption of the virtues of honesty, courage, and responsibility as what will be required by leaders in order to move forward in a positive future. The Faith for Earth initiative brought together 260 organizations during the Stockholm Plus 50 conference this year, who called for the adoption of a new development paradigm that integrates moral, spiritual, and indigenous shared values, and move from a neoliberal and anthropocentric worldview to an interconnected worldview. Laudato Si calls for ecological education and spirituality to ensure a lifestyle that conveys less obsessiveness, more moderation and inner peace, and ultimately greater fulfillment. UNEP's Faith for Earth supports this call by emphasizing the role of ethics, spirituality, and values as drivers for behavioral change towards a more sustainable living. Comparing the Agenda 2030 of the United Nations and Laudato Si, an important observation can be made that there must be no return to old development paradigms and irresponsible capitalism. Agenda 2030 envisages a green economy with social democratic diversity. Likewise, Laudato Si foresees a post-capitalist era based on a cultural shift towards eco-solidarity. The Bible says, "If my people who are called by my name humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I will hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and heal their land." Agenda 2030, the Sustainable Development Goals, and the interfaith collaboration through multilateralism, infused by the actions outlined in Laudato Si of Pope Francis and of Al-Mizan, the Islamic Covenant for the Earth, and other faith doctrines, are the hope we are holding on to change the trajectory of our future from one that is threatened by indifference and apathy to one that holds hope and prosperity for generations to come. We need a healthy, clean, and sustainable environment where current and future generations will live in peace and enjoy prosperity. We need a future where young people are empowered to take the lead, where gender inequality is something from the past, and where no one is marginal or marginalized. Interfaith and intrafaith collaboration and understanding is as essential as multilateralism. Advancing a common vision of our shared values is vital if we want to live in prosperous societies. Religious diversity of values should be the basis for a universal value-based structure of coexistence. A shared consciousness of our global interdependence must help us define the global common that supports life on Earth. Increasing recognition of ethics, faith, and spirituality in environmental governance is key. Thank you very much.